Well, hello again and welcome back to LV426. Very glad to see you as always. So listen, the internet is ablaze with fresh talk about certain tidbits and plot details revealed for the upcoming and eagerly awaited Alien Romulus film, which will be hitting the cinemas in August this year. Regarding a trailer, I believe we will see a full-length one on Alien Day, which is only the 26th of April, but a juicy teaser will likely drop between now and then, that is my bet. So all the Twitter talk and rumours about plot details mostly stem from the fact that this film has currently had test screenings to see how well it is received. Happens with many movies, but you know, this is an Alien film, and one that I think many people is hoping will be a return to form for the franchise, and possibly might even save it at this point. Skeptical am I, especially after reading all the leaks that I'm about to talk about. A while back we were privy to information from the uploaded audition tapes involving some of the actors. These tapes were quickly taken down, but the descriptions of what was spoken about remain online over at AVP Galaxy, if anyone wants to know more, that is. Furthermore, during the making of this video there was yet again another flurry of either fascinating or alarming leaks, depending on what sort of film you were hoping for, I guess, which do reveal some amount of precise info about certain events in a movie that Alien fans may be interested to know. I'll speak on this in just a second and will be giving my honest thoughts, trust me on that, as some items on the list do worry me a fair amount, I have to say. So if you'd rather not know anything, then please be warned, as I do not want to ruin it for you, and I respect your decision to ignore the leaks and go in fresh. Good for you. Many of these interesting comments have been confirmed by reliable sources online, but I do hope the leaks stop here. No more spoilers, please. It's just a real slap in the face to all the hundreds of hard-working people who bring us these films, and also ruins the surprise for the patient fans. Okay, so what's the news? What is the big deal? Firstly, I will be discussing something huge about this film that connects it directly to the 1979 Alien, as well as Prometheus in just a bit, but let's talk about the initial reports first. Most of the feedback from those who have seen the film in test screenings seems to be very positive. Of course, it is impossible for any of us to know what is legit at this stage, and are we only hearing from the people who liked what they saw? Who knows? Take it with a pinch of salt by all means. I can only report on what is surfacing on social media, and as well as all the main outlets covering Fede Alvarez's Alien Romulus. What's been said in summary is basically this, however. Attendees of the screenings boast stunning visuals, plot twists, and the film basically stays true to the alien's essence. There is also so much talk regarding how violent and gory many of the scenes will be. Well, it is a Fede Alvarez film after all, I suppose. And if anyone remembers, it was revealed in an article not too long ago about how most of the actors in one particular scene had to look away in disgust. This was because of the horrifying and gory nature of what I can only assume was the unsettling use of practical effects and blood on set that made the cast sick to their stomach. If this is true, then fantastic. My money is on it being a chestburster scene for sure. But hey, we all know that having great visuals and lots of violence and gore does not inherently make a great horror film. I love that it's going to be mature in that regard, but I'm more interested in the part that speaks about plot twists and staying true to the alien's essence. This is the foundation to build upon. Give the film purpose and intent in story and vibe, and the fact that it will be bloody can be the sugarcoating on top, right? So here we go. The initial leak last week started as a statement on the Perfect Organism podcast, which was then expanded upon a week later to read this. Alien Romulus will show us up close a new planet with a gritty civilization, as well as the abandoned space station filled with facehuggers and the perfect organism lurking around. Lots of suspense, gore, as well as action with tech and guns await. Emphasis on field, the facehuggers play an important role on this movie. A group of scavengers depart their home planet for an abandoned spaceship aiming to steal equipment, unleashing baby Xenos, facehuggers, and the fearsome Xenomorph in a gory battle. More chest rips and stunning visuals, staying true to the franchise's essence with some twists. The Yutani space station contains several cryo chambers of Xenomorphs. What purpose do they serve there? Many secrets and twists are about to be uncovered. A second quote on AVP Galaxy reads, "The Romulus station is described as circular, funnel-shaped, and was once a bustling research facility before something happened, leaving it abandoned for years. Not only that, according to our sources, xenomorphs infested the place on their own, with new versions of them that are much more ferocious and intense. Alien Romulus will introduce new forms of more ferocious xenomorphs, chestbursters and facehuggers. The society that Rain and Andy come from do not like synthetic androids very much, and there's more to this dynamic explored in the film's plot. Aesthetically speaking, the planet they come from is described as being industrial grit. This will be a dramatic contrast to the more pristine aesthetic of Prometheus and Alien Covenant ships and environments. Well, although not official, reliable sources such as AVP Galaxy are adamant they can confirm the leaks. Therefore, assuming this is true, then here's what gives me great concern about this Alien film, and also if we can study both sides of the coin, what may potentially be its saving grace. For starters, I love what I'm hearing when it comes to the aesthetics of the colonists, the planet they live on and their ships. I do appreciate that we are going back to gritty, great news. This is almost heartwarming for me, as more than anything I think Prometheus and Covenant, they did a great job of reminding me how much I missed the visually gritty style of the first two Alien films. I always felt that the look of industrial and makeshift really complemented the artistry of Giger's Alien design, so much so that it enabled the alien to blend in with this environment in much the same way insects are able to camouflage among plants. The visual aspects in both Prometheus and Covenant were sometimes a little too clinical and clean for me. It almost felt out of place within the Alien universe, much like the movies do themselves for many people who despise those recent films. But in terms of the scavenger crew from this planet to the ones that the movie will focus on, I hope that they have enough humanity about them and are relatable enough. They need to be for the film to work, period. We don't want another crew of arseholes and unlikable characters like we were presented with in Alien 4, remember? So hopefully having lived on an industrially gritty planet as described has not stripped them all of character traits that the audience can find appealing is what I'm saying. Just look at the space trucker crew of the Nostromo as a perfect example of people who inspired the audience. The next part reveals that this crew of scavengers do in fact discover an abandoned Weyland-Yutani research station. I was hoping for some kind of closure involving the USCSS Covenant and its crew on board from Ridley's last film. Part of me was adamant this was indeed the ship in question, but nay, it is not, as this particular station is described as being circular and funnel shaped in design. The part that now worries me a lot about this new addition to the Alien franchise is all this talk about the ship being overrun by facehuggers, or as they say, baby Xenos. Clearly Fede Alvarez wanted this film to be hard-hitting, gory and violent from the get-go. That could be very exciting to watch, and I'm not suggesting we won't have time at the start of the story to properly be introduced to the characters and feel a sense of being and presence in this time period chosen for the film. But there is obviously an emphasis, it sounds like, on making a movie more about shocking us, and maybe the most gruesome alien encounters we've ever seen in a film before by xenomorphs that are much more ferocious and deadlier than ever before, according to the leaks, and I'll get to that part soon. If the story is clever and deceptive, like some people who have seen the film are now saying when they speak of plot twists, then it sounds like the whole package, sure, sign me up. But right now, parts of this sound very cliché and very convenient for my liking, almost like lazy writing. So in an effort to stay neutral, on the one hand it could be fascinating to learn more about this space station that was used to research these perfect organisms, why, how and what went wrong etc. could be extremely compelling. It also feels very appropriate that this new haunted house in space, as is the expression, is now storing the perfect number of creatures, both in cryo as well as running rampant apparently, for a full-on bloody battle between them and the human scavengers using an array of advanced weapons and tech to aid them. So in case many of you are wondering now what was taking place at this research station and how the presence of xenomorphs even came to be at this location, well, this is the part that makes me roll my eyes just a little bit as doubt starts to seep into my mind. The supposedly confirmed leaks describe it like this. After Ripley blew the xenomorph out of the airlock in the first Alien, it was able to drift in space while partially staying alive or intact enough for it to be discovered sometime later and was then sent to this research station we spoke about earlier. I find it wildly astonishing that in the vastness of space somehow this creature was able to be found. Doesn't that just take the expression a needle in a haystack about a million times stretched further? Anyway, once at this station it was then reversed engineered, which enabled the scientists to harvest the same type of black goo that caused havoc in Prometheus. Except here the scientists were able to alter its utility to work like a miracle cure that would aid humanity in the eradication of all diseases. Long story short, wouldn't you know it, something goes wrong while they were also using the goo to create new alien facehuggers, and an outbreak occurs. Shocking. So by the time the scavengers arrive on the station, as you can imagine, all hell will most likely break out. I don't know guys, it's all sounding way too sci-fi and far-fetched for me, and much less like an actual return to form of the original films. And, well, more like an AVP sequel if I'm honest. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Am I being overcritical? In my previous videos I objectively tried to be positive towards this film, but knowing that these leaks are most likely true gives me a bad feeling in my stomach. Another detail to mention that I could be kind of okay with is the fact that all alien types are now more enhanced and deadlier than before. According to sources, the facehuggers have barbs on their fingers, which does make more sense in practical terms, as trying to remove them would surely be impossible. But do the chestbursters really need an upgrade? What are they going to do now, explode from the host and break into a dance routine? Lastly, there is talk about the larger Xeno on board having more of a fleshy exterior, unlike the hardened exoskeleton look, and with more of a humanoid face and elongated body. I mean, I'm thinking, have they gone too far with this now? Are we going to see some monstrosity that closely resembles the creature in Alien 4? You know, the one that shared DNA with the Ripley clone? God, I hope not. Yeah, so I'm starting to lose faith a little bit with this film now, I'm sorry to say. And I'll say it again, I want nothing more than to be wrong about this film and for it to blow us all away. I think worst case, this film will still be a lot of fun and could be quite scary by the sounds of it. The problem is that right now I'm in the hardcore Alien fan headspace of wanting it to be a perfect reflection of what the first two films were able to achieve. And I'm sure most of you guys and girls are too, let me know. The other incredibly interesting piece of information to talk about is the leak of Ian Holm's likeness being used via the power of AI to give him yet another go at portraying an android. I can imagine if they screw this up, it's going to offend a lot of people, as Ian Holm was worshipped for some of the roles he played, but sadly we lost him some time ago. I can understand why they want to bring him back, as I guess if so many of his model was manufactured, then they would all look the same perhaps. However, it is stated that the society on the gritty planet that sees no sunlight where the scavengers live appears to harbour some hatred of synthetics. The main character, played by Kaylee Spaney, has a synthetic brother, interestingly enough. She is of course part of the crew that set out for the abandoned station. So whether Ian Holm's android is part of that crew, or perhaps more likely is that they find him on board the station, either safely stored away or running the show. I would hazard a guess that what will most likely go down is a dispute between the scavengers and at least one of the androids, because we have to assume that a Weyland-Yutani synthetic would only have the company's best interest in mind, and that could only be the preservation of these alien experiments on board the station. So if those are the cards we are dealing with, then I'm looking forward to some deception and betrayal thrown into the carnage and chaos of the crew trying to survive the alien onslaught. I'm just a wee bit concerned that the film is going to mask a lazy story with amazing action scenes and a lot of gore to make up for it. If Romulus is good and well received, then not only is this good news for the fans, but it will most certainly mean the studio will greenlight any future plans to make more films in this franchise. And it may also be the case that Ripley finally gets to continue his plans after the events of Covenant, for which I'm very curious to see how that story arc ends up. But for now, these leaks haven't exactly filled me with confidence at all. I'll still be looking forward to watching an Alien film in the cinema, that's always a special occasion, but I just feel like I need to know beforehand whether to switch my brain off prior to going in. So please let me know your thoughts down below, as I'd particularly love to hear any reasons why you might still be excited to see this film. Alright folks, stay safe, stay relaxed and stay entertained. See you soon.